Yeah, we're not gonna use that.
Hi, I'm David Tracy with Jalopnik. This here is the Suzuki Jimny. It's a cool little off-roader that we don't get in the US, but I'm in Germany in front of a little construction site. We're gonna do a quick and dirty off-road review. So hop on in and we'll go over some dirt mounds and some rocks and stuff. So the beauty of the Suzuki Jimny is its tiny size. It's got a very small wheelbase and it's got great approach, departure, and breakover angles. They are 37, 49, and 28 degrees respectively. And you're gonna see, those come into play right now as we go over some very mild, admittedly very mild terrain. So right now we're in low range. I activated that earlier, and you can see it's down here. Here's the shifter, just like a traditional low range transfer case. You put the shifter into neutral, roll a little bit, and then you just, well, you know, I'll show you how it's done. So now we're back in 2, you go into 4, you press it down, low range. And with the low range, you actually have good enough gearing to really not have to worry about stalling off-road. I mean, you can pretty much just control your speed. Damn it.
Yeah, we're not gonna use that.
I'm gonna climb up this embankment a little bit to show you some suspension articulation. This thing's body on frame. It's got 2 solid axles, but, well, as you'll see, it still doesn't flex very much. Woohoo! So as you can see, this tire is off the ground, and this little Jimny is so tiny I can just kind of wiggle back and forth. It's a 3-link suspension, and well, it seems pretty solid, pretty stout, but it doesn't flex a whole lot. Anyway. The traction control actually works pretty well. Yeah, it just, those little skinny tires, they're not off-road tires, but they just claw. All right, now we're gonna test a little bit of the breakover angle here. There's a little bit of a mound, but this thing's so short, with the wheels are so close, we'll see how it goes. Oh. Oh, we're touching. Oh boy. As you can see, we're touching the belly here. So I think we might have pushed the breakover angle kind of to its limits here, even though the breakover is pretty good. Anyway, I'm gonna ask this cameraman to give me a push because we gotta go backwards. I don't want to push that up too far. So, cameraman, give me a push, please. 3, 2, and go. She just claws, man. It just claws, these little tiny tires. What do you think? Straighten out?
Yeah, you look good.
Okay. And the great thing is I'm just hanging out of my window right now, and tire there, very easy to monitor what's going on down here. Looks like we're getting pretty close there, but looks good. Just light off the clutch and it just, as he nearly stalls. Little. Oh, that was great. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this thing's approach and departure angles by just trying to climb up this grade that's definitely too steep for these little tires' grip, but still we'll be able to get up far enough so I can show you how good that approach angle is. Here we go. This is how it looks from my vantage. Just looks like a steep hill. What makes the Jimny so good off-road is quite simply just geometry. The approach angle is 37 degrees. We were able to get up this hill without scraping our bumper too much. Looks like we maybe popped a little bit of our license plate bracket there, but yeah, that's a pretty steep hill. And in the back, there's like really not much of a bumper to talk about. I mean, that's it. I mean, there's the tire, and this is the end of the bumper. That is a 49-degree departure angle, which is pretty absurd. You can just aim this Jimny wherever you want and just drive there. Okay, so now I'm going to take you around the suspension on the Suzuki Jimny. It's a solid axle setup. It is not a 5-link like you might see on a Wrangler, but a simpler 3-link setup with 2 radius arms and 1 track bar. I'll show you that underneath later, but for now, let's see how well this thing flexes. We're on a little dirt pile, you know, nothing crazy. But here you can see on this rear wheel is pretty well stuffed. And on the other side, this little wheel, look at this little guy, is off the ground. I mean, there's some articulation here. I mean, it's decent articulation. It's nothing, you know, it's better than I've seen in most similarly sized independent suspension, you know, Jeep Renegade type vehicles. This definitely looks like more than that, but it's not a Jeep Wrangler when it comes to flex. Still, it does pretty well. Oh yes. Here, you can see the big control arm. Long control arm. There's one on the other side. So those are 2 of the 3 links. And then the 3rd link is the track bar, which is right here. See this guy right here?
Looking under the Jimny, you'll see what appears to be a cast aluminum transfer case, which is exposed and could use some sort of skid plate protection. I did notice there was a metal pan under the fuel tank, so that's good. That transfer case, is worth mentioning, houses a 2-to-1 low-range gear set that, along with the Jimny's short 4:10-to-1 axle ratio and 4.4-to-1 first gear ratio, give the vehicle a decent crawl ratio of 36-to-1. The 3-link suspension setup is bone simple. There's a track bar front and rear running from the frame to each axle, limiting lateral axle motion. Then there are 2 radius arms, one on each side of each axle. Here on the front axle you can see how it works. The radius arm attaches to the frame and runs forward to the axle, attaching in 2 locations, so as to not only place the axle in the fore-aft direction, but also to prevent axle rotation. It's a super robust, basic, and easily liftable setup that was used for decades on vehicles like the Land Rover Defender and Toyota Land Cruiser. As for the engine, it's a little 1.5-liter 4-cylinder that makes a little over 100 horsepower and a little under 100 pound-feet of torque. Along with the gearing, I thought it was enough for off-road use. Plus, there's lots of room in the engine bay to wrench, which is pretty awesome. You feel like you're sitting up high when you're in the Jimny, and not just because it's got over 8 inches of ground clearance, but also because this is a body-on-frame vehicle, like the aforementioned off-road brutes, the Land Cruiser, and the Defender. This is considered an easier design to modify and repair, and it's generally preferred by many for prolonged off-road use.
That's it, off-roading in the Suzuki Jimny. It was short, it was in a construction site, you know, nothing wild, but I can't tell you how much fun this thing is. The approach angles and approach, departure, breakover angles, the size is what makes this thing so much fun.